back to CarScoops, where this week we're in the 2024 Nissan Nismo. Before we picked this car up, we asked you, what do you want to know about it? Today, we're going to give you the answers. Now, our first question might sound like a silly one. How did we manage to get this? Nissan kindly provided it to us. But the question really goes deeper. They basically said, we haven't seen any of these. I never see these. I see supercars more than I see these. I'll tell you, I agree. These are pretty rare. You really don't see too many of them, despite the fact that Nissan is selling a lot of them. Our next question is perfect for driving around in traffic like I am right now. How much attention does this car get? Do people stop me and ask me about it? Here's what I'll tell you. I've driven a lot of cars in my life. This one does get quite a bit of attention. Now, does it get quite a bit of attention because it's small and aggressive looking? Sure, that's part of it. I'm confident. But it also is bright red. That's a part of the equation. But no joke, I had someone roll up next to me while I was in line to pick up a coffee at my favorite local coffee spot. And he just pulled up next to me to say, man, that's awesome. I haven't seen one until just now, and it's great. So, yeah, it does get noticed. People stop and stare and look at it. And frankly, when I park it somewhere and walk away, I tend to look back at it myself. A lot of you wanted to know about how does this car, for $69,000, granted the MSRP is $65,000, this one has some options to make it $69,000. How does this compare to a bunch of other cars? And you asked for comparisons across the board, right? Let's talk about how this car compares to itself first. This has 20 more horsepower than the normal Z. It has a tuned suspension, different to the normal Z. It has unique 19-inch wheels, and it has bigger brakes, basically. There are some other ancillary touches, but those are kind of the big key features, right? Now, how does it compare? The horsepower is kind of negligible, in my opinion. Yes, it is more power. It does feel a little more high-strung, I think. But what really gets me is the steering and the braking. The steering and the braking in this, the suspension feel, those things are outstanding. They are sincerely better than the normal car. Are they worth the premium, which is not an insignificant amount of money? That's going to be up to each individual to define for themselves. Now, we also got the question of the trims, what would I personally buy, or what would we personally buy at CarScoops? I can't speak for my colleagues, but I'll tell you what I would do. If it was my money, I would buy a manual gearbox version of the Z, the Performance Edition, and then I would spend almost $6,000 on Nissan's big brake upgrade for this car. I sincerely think the brakes are worth it. They are so good, they are so easy to use, and they're sharp. You can really pinpoint exactly what you want to do with the brakes in this car with that big brake kit that's on this one. Now the tougher question, how does this compare to all the other cars in the market? It doesn't compare amazingly well. That's just the honest fact in terms of all of the things that you are going to get. Now, I said this in my review, the Nissan Z Nismo makes everyday track day, for better and for worse. It's an incredibly engaging and fun car to drive. I think we should normalize paying a little too much for cars that are genuinely fun and engaging on the road, rather than normalizing paying $90,000 for a truck that you'll never tow or haul with. You'll never put anything in the bed. That makes more sense to me. People who care about driving, who love driving, who enjoy driving are going to be better drivers. So keep that in mind, because a lot of the other cars in this segment at this kind of price point, Mustang Dark Horse, BMW M2, one that I've recently driven, they're great cars and they offer a little more, right? The interior is nicer. They're a little more livable each and every day. They're a little more practical. They're good, don't get me wrong. They're fun in their own right. But personally, just for fun, this is it. And that's coming from a person who's owned multiple BMWs, who got to spin a BMW M2 at BMW Performance Center last year. I really enjoyed that car. I would rather get in this and beat the heck out of this. This is so much fun. Those were your questions for us on the 2024 Nissan Z Nismo. If we missed any, let us know in the comments section. We'll answer them there.